Secretary General of United Nations Antonio Guterres has urged the political leaders to accept the result of the forthcoming general election in a good faith and shun every act of violence. Speaking through the UN Special Representative for West Africa, Mohamed Banchamba, at the second signing of the National Peace Accord, said the only option for reaction to the outcome of the election is through legal means. He therefore urged politicians to explore legal means in seeking redress. The chairman of the National Peace Committee, General Abdulsalam Abubakar, in his welcome address, appealed to all presidential candidates and leaders to live by example by their speech and word responsa. He also used the medium to plead with security agencies and INEC to keep to the letter every agreement signed in order to achieve peaceful, credible, transparent, and fair election. Also speaking, the former head of state, General Yakubu Gowon, calls on the presidential candidate to ensure peace, credible, violence-free election by calling their supporters to engage in election peacefully. The Peace Accord ceremony was witnessed by a cross-section of traditional religious leaders, political leaders, cross-section members of diplomatic corps, cross-section of presidential candidate, President Muhammadu Buhari, Atiku Abubakar, Ali Shayode, and others.
The Nigerian Labour Congress (NLC) has called on pensioners across the country to vote against any state governors still owing backlog of unpaid pensions in the forthcoming general elections. President of NLC, Ayuba Waba, stated this while addressing delegates and other guests at the 12th Quarantine National Delegate Conference of NLC in Abuja. Waba commended the federal government for releasing bailout and Paris Club fund to states, insisted that state governor had no justification to still owe pensioners. He warned that some funds received by the governors were being diverted from its main purpose. Waba further commended at least states who had applied the bailout fund for its right purpose. President Muhammadu Buhari has vowed to probe $16 billion spent on fake power projects by the administration of former President Olusegun Obasanjo. He said his government will recover the money and expose those behind the scam. President Buhari, who spoke in Yenagoa at Bayelsa State capital during All Progressive Congress presidential campaign rally, he said he was unrelenting in his pursuit of those who looted the nation's resources. The president, who landed at the government helipad, was received by the Bayelsa State Governor, Siraike Dixon, before he proceeded to pay courtesy call on the traditional rulers in the state. Addressing the crowd, Buhari said his administration, despite the daunting challenges, have been able to curtail the security issues in the northeast, while the economic was on the way to becoming self-reliant. Although he did not mention Obasanjo, Buhari said the previous government mentioned on their own that they spent $16 billion on power, but you are better witness than myself. Where is the power? Where is the money? We will follow them. Eventually, God's willing, we will catch them and get our money back. The Arewa Constituted Forum has endorsed President Muhammadu Buhari for re-election. The group endorsed the president at a meeting in Kaduna. He said Buhari has taken steps to improve and reposition the nation. Musa Kwan, the acting chairman of the forum, said Buhari deserves a second term to consolidate on his achievement. The forum listed some of Buhari's achievements as multi-billion-dollar Mambila hydropower project and exploration of oil in Gongola Basin of the Benue through the Bairo Inland Port, the Northeast Development Commission, the ongoing railway project nationwide, and other critical infrastructural development projects. The forum called on the politicians and their supporters, as well as the electorate, to avoid all forms of violence before, during, and after the election, and urged the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) to live up to its promise and assurance of free, fair, and credible election. Forum of State Chairmen of All Progressive Grand Alliance (APGA) has adopted presidential candidate of People Democratic Party Alhaji Atiku Abubakar and his running mate Peter Obi as a preferred candidate for Saturday election. The state chapter of chairmen, led by Chief Jerry Obasi, in a meeting in Enugu, said they saw the need to join forces with other progressive to rescue the country. Obasi said they were impressed by Atiku's pledge to restructure the country and make the economic work again while providing job and work creation. Agba fraction also extolled the Onaize Ndigbo, Pan Niger Delta, the Elder Forum, PANDEF, Afenifere, and the Middle Belt Forum for their wisdom in supporting the PDP candidate. The former Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Chief Duben Onye, who accepted the letter of adoption on behalf of Atiku, applauded them for offering to partner the PDP candidate in the struggle to reclaim Nigeria. He assured that Atiku will not disappoint Nigerians if elected because he has enormous experience to turn the fortune of the country around. A federal high court sitting in Abuja has stopped the federal government from freezing the account of the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Walter Onoge. The presiding judge of the federal high court, Justice Gioma Ojukwu, ruled that the Attorney General of the Federation cannot freeze bank account of Justice Onoge without first obtaining a court order authorizing the freezing. The judge gave the order while ruling on an ex parte application filed by the Legal Defense and Assistance Project against President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the Attorney General, and the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit. A copy of the order, which was made available to journalists in Abuja, read part: the AGF shall first obtain an order of court ex parte before freezing account of Justice Onoge in compliance with the law if it was not obtained. It will be recalled that last month the federal government, through the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice Abubakar Malami, gave a directive to Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit to freeze 5 bank accounts of Onoge pending the final determination of the case against him at the Code of Conduct Tribunal.
The federal government has signed investment agreement with 3 development finance institutions for the development of special economic zones in the country. The 3 finance institutions are Afrexim Bank, Bank of Industry, and the Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority. President Muhammadu Buhari, who presided over the ceremony at the Aso Rock Villa, said investment company in the special economic zones will become operational. The federal government set up Nigerian Special Economic Zones Company Limited as a vehicle for participating in public-private partnerships involving federal, states, local and foreign private investors to develop new special economic zones all over the country. offering world-class infrastructure and facilities at competitive costs. The three development finance institutions are among the 5 to partner with Nigerian Special Economic Zones Company and the Ministry of Finance Incorporated. Nigerian Special Economic Zones Company intends to raise at least $500 million in equity over the first 5 years in order to execute its ambitious strategy of becoming a leading investor in special economic zones in the country. Other investment partners are African Development Bank and Africa Finance Corporation. The projects in the pilot phase include Enyimba Economic City, Funtua Cotton Cluster, and Lekki Model Industrial Park.
The immediate past governor of Ekiti State, Ayodele Fayose, has alleged a plot by the All Progressive Congress-led federal government to jam all telecommunications network from 5 a.m. on Saturday till 5 p.m. on Sunday to make it impossible for use of internet and phone call during the presidential and national election. During the presidential and national assembly elections, Fayose is also the Southwest coordinator of the Atiku Obi Presidential Campaign Council, said the equipment for the sinister plot arrived the country from Israel last week and test run was done on Thursday and Friday. He added that I'm in my house. If they put gun in my head, I won't keep silent at this time because the same strategy was used in Ekiti State during the 2018 governorship election. The former governor, who made this known in a release issued by his media aide, Lady Olayinka, said all Nigerians and international community must rise in defense of democracy and the country. All Progressive Congress has vowed to punish Ogun State Governor Ibikunle Amosu for allegedly instigating talk that attacked the leaders of the party, including the national chairman Adam Oshiomhole, at the presidential rally in Abeokuta. The crowd at the rally pelted Oshiomhole with stones and water sachet while he introduced Dapo Abiodun as the governorship candidate of the APC in Ogun State. Other leaders of the party, including Bola Asiwaju Ahmed Tinubu, were bold at the campaign, which was marred by violence involving the APC and the Allied People's Movement supporters. The spokesman of the APC caretaker committee in the state, Tunde Oladundoye, had alleged that hoodlum who disrupted the rally was sponsored by the state governor, Amosu Ibikunle. Expressing regret at the disruption of the campaign, the National Publicity Secretary, Malam Larry Issa Onilu, in a statement in Abuja, said those responsible for the premeditated attack will be dealt with.